Vikings are bathing in the open, a weekly tradition they have on Saturdays. Under the river's surface, English troops who knew of this tradition sneak up on their village, ambushing the naked men. The village is ransacked and many Danes are murdered, while the village burns to the ground. In Thors' village, children are practicing war with wooden weapons. The fight moves elsewhere, as we see Thorfinn laying on the ground with his friend, complaining about how he always dies so fast. They speak about Valhalla after death, and how you won't get there without being a great warrior. Leif interrupts them with his laughter, saying they'll catch a cold if they die on the snow. Thorfinn is jealous, since Leif is setting off to sail tomorrow. He's taking goods to trade for wine and other things, and Thorfinn wants to accompany him but is declined. Suddenly, Leif tells Thorfinn to get a message to Thors. A warship is coming, and it's a big one. Thors is trying to fix a metal bowl, but is struggling to get the technique down, and the others say he's simply too strong for it. Thorfinn runs past screaming for his father, and informs him of the huge warship coming in. Many organized, disciplined men with golden eyes on their black axes patiently wait for Thors. Thors arrives, and presents himself to these warriors of Yarm. The captain takes off his helmet, and all the troops bow to Thors. Thors greets Floki, the man who removed his helmet, and Floki asks for permission to enter the village. With Floki in Thors' house, the younger men spy on the meeting they're having, wondering just who Thors is to garner such attention. Only Thorfinn realizes that Thors looked more stressed than usual. Floki begins informing Thors of the ambush that happened recently. Englishmen showed no honor by attacking the men as they bathed, killing plenty of Danes and even a woman, the younger sister of the King Sweyn of Denmark. Due to this, the Danish army and the Jomsvikings have united, and King Sweyn is preparing a great war with the English in which every able man must participate. Thors tells Floki to do as he wishes, since this is a small village and war will not affect it at all. Floki informs Thors that this is not true. Their chieftain has ordered for every single man to be summoned, no man is exempt. Even deserters like Thors. Thors' kids are confused by this comment. Floki directly tells Thors that he will be fighting in this war. Floki explains to Thors that the chieftain is being quite graceful. Deserters are to be punished, but he is willing to overlook Thors deserting the army 15 years ago due to his ability in battle. Thors says that coming to the village on a warship to tell him this was unnecessary as it's unsettled the villagers. Floki comments on how different Thors is now, and wonders if the village is responsible for this. Floki indirectly threatens Thors, saying how lucky the village has been to never been devastated by war before. The younger men are walking with energy, excited at the idea that a war is coming. They remark how incredible Thorfinn's dad must be if this army sailed here to meet him, exciting Thorfinn even further. The men converse further, wondering if all of them will be allowed to the battlefield. One man bumps into one of the Jomsvikings, and receives a deadly stare. Floki becomes more direct with Thors. He did not come out here for fun. If he is unable to complete his chieftain's orders, he will be punished, so he cannot afford to return home empty-handed. Floki is basically insinuating that if Thors refuses, the village will be destroyed. Leif is explaining the strength of the Jomsviking, arguably one of the strongest armies in the land, so strong that the king doesn't even dare to tax them. He's astonished that Thors used to be one of them. Suddenly, all troops are withdrawn. Upon leaving, Floki makes a short speech. He claims that the hero Thors will be joining the war with a warship. Any able man who wants to battle should take up arms and join him immediately. As the Jomsvikings sail away, the young men cannot contain their excitement, and all begin cheering in celebration at the thought of going to battle, while Thors gravely stands there in morbid disbelief, knowing their likely fates. Stressed, Thors returns home. Talking with Thors by the fire, Leif assumes that Thors was unable to refuse Floki's offer, and Thors is devastated that the village has been dragged into his past. He explains that long ago, he was a warrior, but one day realized he wanted no part of war anymore. He deserted battle while making it look like he died. Leif asks if he could just do it again, but this time the fate of the villagers lies in Thors' hands, so he cannot. Thors knocks back his drink, and realizes the time has come to take responsibility for his actions. The villagers heave the boat into the sea, and Ari notices that Leif is still here despite meaning to sail off today. Leif explains that he now has to sail a convey next to the warship instead due to Thors' orders, and is confused that everyone is so excited about going to war. Sparring once again, Thorfinn is mercilessly beating the children with his sword. Despite being hit in the back, he turns and smacks the attacker again. After being told Thorfinn has already lost, he slaps this kid around the face too. Thorfinn angrily walks away, wiping the blood from his nose. While setting the sail up with his men, a man calls Thors over to look at his kid's arm. He explains that his arm is broken, and they're going too far in the sparring, but the kids explain that it's Thorfinn that's getting too rough. Thors apologizes for his son's actions, but the other father laughs and explains that kids will be kids, before praising Thorfinn for dealing such damage to kids years older than him. He further explains that Thorfinn definitely has Thors' blood in his veins and will become a great fighter one day. The young men are looking at their new weapons, and complimenting how good each other look. Thorfinn watches in envy. He throws his wooden weapons on the ground at home and desperately searches for a real weapon. His sister tells him that Thorfinn is too young, and won't be going to war with the men. Suddenly, Thorfinn finds a chest. Inside, he finds a dagger, and after unsheathing it he is mesmerized in its beauty. Suddenly, Thors grabs the dagger off him, cutting his hand in the process. Thors asks Thorfinn why he wants a weapon, and Thorfinn explains to kill his enemies. However, Thors teaches Thorfinn that he doesn't have any enemies, nobody deserves to be hurt, no one at all. Thorfinn gets angry, saying his father is lying to him since he is soon sailing away to kill enemies himself, before running away. Helga bandages his hand before Thors tells her to look after Thorfinn while he's gone. The next morning, Leif is commenting how the sea is perfect for sailing, before we're cut to another village. Men are playing a game of hit the priest, and throwing axes with their weak hand to hit him. One man tries to encourage the soldiers of Yarm to share a drink with them, but they don't even respond. Inside a hut, Floki is scolding the leader of these troops for their lack of discipline, before we're introduced to Askeladd. Askeladd explains that his men are simply bored, and don't like Christianity, but wants to get down to business immediately. Floki sits down, and explains that Askeladd will be paid in 5 pounds of gold, but won't pay anything if he doesn't receive the body of his target. The ship and cargo can be taken, but the body must be given to Floki. The man he is ordering him to kill is revealed to be Thors. That's all for this one, Kings. Be sure to subscribe for the next episode where things start kicking off. I'll see you all very soon.